Verse 1. Yo, listen up, let me spin you a tale about a teacher so fake, he'd make you turn pale. His name was Mr. Cheesy, slicker than a snake. But his teaching skills? Well, they were a mistake. Verse 2. Now in his class, there's wild Wilma, always acting out. She'd see Mr. Cheesy and shout, "What's that about?" She'd prank him with whoopee cushions and fake farts, but Mr. Cheesy just smiled, thinking he's got hearts. Verse 3. Then there's nervous Ned, sweating like a pig. He'd see Mr. Cheesy and say, "I need a swig." He'd stutter and stumble through his speech, but Mr. Cheesy just nodded, like he's teaching bleach. Verse 4. Now let's talk about Crazy Carl, with his crazy ideas. He'd see Mr. Cheesy and yell, "You're giving me fears." He'd draw doodles on the chalkboard, full of zest, but Mr. Cheesy just laughed, thinking he's the best. Verse 5. Meanwhile, in the back, there's Wise Will. He'd watch Mr. Cheesy with a smirk so chill. He'd see through the act, see through the haze, but Mr. Cheesy just winked, thinking he's in a daze. Verse 6. Now one day, the truth came out. Like a bombshell, Mr. Cheesy's credentials? Well, they fell. He'd been faking it all just for the show. But the students weren't surprised, they already know. Verse 7. They kicked him out of class, with a roar, said, "We ain't learning from you no more." Now the classroom's free from his cheesy game, and they all celebrate with a victory flame. Verse 8. So here's the lesson for all to grasp. Don't be fooled by fakers. They'll make you gasp. Stand up, speak out against those who deceive, and you'll protect yourself. That's what you'll achieve. Verse 9. So let's raise a cheer for Wilma and the gang. They showed Mr. Cheesy he ain't got no bang. Now they're back to learning, back to the groove. And Mr. Cheesy, well, he's on the move. Verse 10. So here's to the students, bold and bright, who stood up to Mr. Cheesy's plight. They'll go down in history as the ones who fought back against fake teachers who were way off track.